everyone, Kung Fu Fruit Cup here. First of all, I want to say thank you so much to Nintendo for inviting me out to a recent Donkey Kong Bananza preview session. It was incredible. So that's what we're going to be focusing on today. Now, I want to tell you the name of this video is called TLDR, which is going to be the beginning of what I'm considering a potential series of videos. Now, for those who don't know what TLDR means, it means too long didn't read. And the point of this kind of series is for me to give you perspective on games and series of things that I have played or I'm excited about and things that I love. I want to be able to summarize the things that I'm talking about at the end of each section and at the end of the video so that if you were like, oh, TLDR, you can check those out and kind of get the summary. So this video is made for people who are ready to lock in and check out all of the content involved, or it could also be for people who just want, hey, I just want the summary, just tell me what's up. So hopefully chapters work and you can skip ahead to preview all of those. Okay, now to get into things. So about a week ago, I was invited up to, again, see the Donkey Kong Bananza preview session. It was so cool and so sweet of the team to have me up, so thank you for that again. I got a hands-on experience playing some of Bananza already, which is fantastic. And I have to say, I'm really excited for the whole game. Just to kind of like follow up, I got to go up basically for a day up to New York City, meet up with the team, some people working with Nintendo and alongside Nintendo, and they were so accommodating and welcoming, provided a really cute space to preview the game and had all kinds of banana themed snacks. It was so great. But let's get into the game itself. Donkey Kong Bananza is coming out on July 17th. So if you're watching this video after that, well, maybe you should go check out the game for yourself. Or maybe you're here because you're like, well, I still want to learn more about it before I decide whether I'm gonna get it or not. This game was made by the Super Mario Odyssey team. And I think that's very apparent, even for those who have seen the direct of this game or even just the trailer. There's so much about this game that kind of gives off a similar feel in a good way, in my opinion. I personally really enjoyed Super Mario Odyssey, and that made me really excited for this game to come. Now, in Bananza, for those who are still learning about the game, this is a Donkey Kong game where you are mostly just playing as Donkey Kong, but you are joined by the super adorable young Pauline, who was originally teased to us just as this odd rock, but we come to find out that it is actually a 13-year-old version of Pauline, who is still an incredible singer and is able to use those singing powers to help Donkey Kong in his journey to get to the core of the planet that they're on before returning back up to the surface. So the two of them want to work together to continue to go down sub-levels as they continue to get to the core. Pauline, by the way, totally voice acted.
Ready, go, go!
The two of them together, I think, make a really cute pair. She's like hanging on for dear life on his shoulder all the time, and it's adorable. So let's talk about the environment. This game is extremely colorful and bright. So obviously my experience with it so far is limited. I was able to like really get hands-on with it and, you know, get some gameplay early. So I have a little bit more confirmation to say, yes, indeed, this feels like very smooth gameplay. It feels great. We're going to talk about that too. The game itself, again, it just has a lot of bright and really fun design things kind of happening all around the space. Now, I'm curious to see throughout the game how much the landscape varies in terms of like actual environmental surfaces. So far, we've hit like, there's a jungle area, there's areas that have a bit more sand, there's a little bit of an industrial feel, there's kind of a mix already happening. But I can see personally, based on my experience so far, that I believe that the further down you go, the more variety you're going to get. But I would say overall that the world building so far feels pretty darn good. It feels very cohesive. It feels like it fits the vibe that they want Donkey Kong to have with his current design. And it seems like it is really inviting for the player to come in and experience. There's all kinds of things that you can do to explore. We're going to talk about the feel and the actual gameplay a little bit more in a second. So I would say for this section, the TLDR for the environment is that it's bright, it's open, even though you're underground. I think they will include a good amount of variety here. Hotel question mark. And if you liked the different areas that you saw in Super Mario Odyssey, then you're probably going to have a similar experience in a good way and have that here too. Okay. Let's move on to the feel of the game so far. So for me, I've already mentioned it, but the gameplay itself is very smooth. So as you're controlling Donkey Kong, who is the primary character that you control in this game, but not the only one you can control. Controlling DK for the most part feels very fluid. He's pretty quick, surprisingly. I think that his ability to punch into the ground and just pick up a bunch of chunks of land is really fascinating. I'm really, really curious to see how the speedrun starts to shape up for this game, because I think there's a lot of mechanics in his movements that can lead to really cool overall quick movement and tech. There was one point where I got stuck not following the path that it looks like the game has intended for me to follow, but instead finding my way over to the side of these crates and then trying to jump on a platform rather than doing a thing to raise a platform to like walk across to pick up this item. And for me, instead, I was like, well, I can just go over here and I think I can jump and punch in the air and actually get enough distance to bridge this gap. And I can see things like that in combination with the fact that you can essentially surf on chunks of material that you get out of the ground. So there are even like purposeful areas in the game that I've discovered that it's really built for you to actually experiment with surfing down these hills, which is going to give you a lot of extra speed. And so whether it's worth the payoff in like an actual speed run to like take the time to rip up the piece of land to surf on, I mean, who's to say? But I think it's a really cool thing, even just casually. Not only that, but we're going to talk about another thing in the game in a bit, like it's called the skill tree. Yay, there's a skill tree that allows you to do other things with chunks of material that you pick up, like double jumps, for example. When it does come to controlling DK, however, I will say there was one thing that I felt like I was struggling a little bit with, and that is that if you jump toward a wall, so DK will start to just climb as soon as you attach to a wall that he can grip. There are a few types of surfaces that are not really grippable. You'll see him try to jump on them and then slide down slowly, which is very funny. That's just to kind of like keep you going in the right direction or like from getting too far out of the world. Speaking of the world, sometimes you'll find either like hard walls that you can't punch through or ledges that seemingly drop off into nothingness. So there are appropriate boundaries within each area that you're exploring, even though there's a ton of stuff to like explore and rip up within those areas. So with DK and his wall climbing specifically, sometimes he will climb up a wall and camera angle wants to go directly in front of where he's climbing. So if you try to turn it and then jump back off the wall, sometimes that feels a little bit difficult. You have to like turn the camera to get the right angle potentially, or it just feels a little bit finicky for him to go from latching onto the wall to jumping back off of it, especially in the direction you want to jump off. So I'd say that's like one thing that I feel like maybe could be touched up a little bit, or it's just something that we will have to deal with a bit as players. Otherwise, when it comes to him punching through things or surfing on things or grabbing things and running around, also throwing stuff, feels all pretty good. Not only did I feel like I could pick up a thing and throw it at an enemy, for example, and it almost always hit without aiming, but you can aim as well. So you can pick up an item and then I believe you hit ZR and then you can actually like aim where you're gonna throw before you throw, which is really nice because there are some things that feel like targets in the game. Like there's in a jungle area, these seeds that you can throw at specific things that I believe anything that's made of wood, and it'll create a platform back for you, which is really cool. Because occasionally there's gonna be areas like this purple, sludgy, toxic something that hurts DK when he's in it. So you have to be careful of that. All right, there's a small cat at my door. If you're gonna be desperate to come in and be in the YouTube video, you can. Check him out. Isn't he cute and weird? There you go. Okay, so along with the feel, when it comes to the exploration in the game, it feels like there's so much that you can do. Even if the types of collectibles are somewhat limited, I feel like even if you get to a point where you're like, wow, I've collected so much gold, why do I need to keep getting gold? Gold itself has multiple uses. So when it comes to the collectibles, the banana gems, those things will help you accrue skill points, which we'll talk about in a sec. And then banana chips, you can trade in for full banana gems. And then gold is another currency that you can use to unlock rest spots, which help you restore your health and have cute little cutscenes. And did you know that in this game, gold is explosive? That's right. So if you pick up gold and throw it at something, it explodes, especially if you throw it against itself. You can get a big explosion and collect a ton of extra gold, hurt enemies, etc. There's another type of material in there that's also explosive that they use on purpose, especially when fighting certain enemies or trying to get through specific materials that DK can't punch through. So that'll be really interesting to work with. I would just run around with a piece of that for a while, finding something I really wanted to destroy. So for our TLDR with the feel, the exploration is going to be really top-notch. There's going to be a lot that you can do. The gameplay feels very smooth, except for when you're trying to get on and then off of a wall. The materials around are really awesome, and there's a bunch of different things that you can use. And I think overall, it's going to give us a really good, fluid experience. Plus, I'm really curious to see what speedrunners do with all of the cool movement. Okay, because I keep mentioning it, let's move on to the skill tree. So there is a skill tree in this game. It comes with customization of multiple different areas that I've seen so far, including extending your health, making your punch stronger. My favorite and the one that I upgraded was enabling a double jump. So basically, if you pick up some material, you can use it to jump up and then jump off of to give you a little bit of extra height. So that's something that I will want to take advantage of, and I'm sure a lot of other players and potential speedrunners will want to do as well. There's also upgrades that you can do to your Bananza forms. So if you've seen the Bananza forms, it's like mega forms representing different animals. So far what we've seen is the Kong Bananza, which is like extra big monkey, and then there's also an ostrich Bananza form, which allows you to glide. So you can go from just flapping to upgrading that Bananza and being able to actually glide across to get a lot more distance. Keep in mind, these forms only last but so long, but you use gold and Pauline to help re-enable them. So specifically, Pauline will help put you into the Bananza form, and then you have this like gold meter that keeps you in the form for so long, but then you can build that back up over time. So I'm curious to see kind of how the skill tree evolves and the other things that you can do within that to continue to buff up DK, which is really cool. So quicker section, but to TLDR the skill tree, there's a lot of customization. Double jump seems awesome. Upgrade your Bananza forms and buff up DK. It's gonna be cool. And use banana gems to get more skill points. There you go. Okay, another thing I want to bring up is Pauline herself. She's adorable. She is a major character in this. It was phrased to me like she is the other protagonist of this game. So you want to consider DK and Pauline to be both protagonists of this game. They're always working together to the extent that you can actually have her play in two-player to assist DK. So while DK is always the one running around in the space, so you can use mouse controls actually with the Joy-Cons to aim, and Pauline will shout words that actually have material power behind them to hit things in front of her based on where you're aiming. Pauline has a cool feature where she can look at a material, she can basically copy that material, and then she has a meter where she can shoot out that material a number of times before it resets to whatever the basic material is. In terms of Pauline herself, I actually really like that she's fully voice acted. I think it's kind of a surprise, especially for like a DK game, but I enjoy it because I think the voice is really cute. It's endearing. It also gives a little bit more of that audience surrogate role where you have somebody who is actively able to respond to a situation. Since DK is a bit more of a silent protagonist, even though he's got plenty of personality, he's very goofy, he's very strong, he wants to do what's right, and he loves bananas. Right? You have all that going for him, but otherwise he's pretty silent. He doesn't really speak a lot of understandable words. You know what I mean? So it's nice to have Pauline as that character that is able to do that. I also like her personality. I think it's really sweet. She's actually quite nervous, which is kind of a surprise. I think maybe in this game, over the course of this game, she'll gain more confidence. But I noticed several examples as I was playing. Like the first time she sings for an audience to help DK get into his first Bananza form, she's really nervous. She doesn't want to do it. She has moments where she's like, I can't, I won't, I'm not going to do it. I can't sing. And then she just shouts out loud. Like, she's able to start overcoming these barriers. Also, there are these getaway nooks, like I was saying earlier, that you can use to recover your health and have cute little spaces. It lets you activate shops and things in that space if you make a getaway. So when you're in those getaways, if you take a little nap, you get a really cute animation of DK laying down, and then Pauline rests against him in some form. And then during that, you can wait instead of just saying goodnight and get some extra dialogue from Pauline. And she's like pretty nervous. So I really like her whole concept as a character and the fact that they kind of pair these two together. I think it's really fun, and she'll be able to bring an extra level of engagement into the game with her personality. And again, I hope she overcomes some of the nerves that she's feeling and is able to be more confident by the end. So we'll see what happens. So for Pauline's TLDR, super cute. Helpful in 2-player, voice acting is good, and her personality is really fun, and I like the nervous energy. I think it's going to add to the game. Another thing I want to mention, you all, the costumes. The costumes are adorable. You can make DK different colors. You can give him different types of ties and bow ties and pants and with the suspenders. And then Pauline has a bunch of different things. So far, I've seen like her little farmer outfit. I know there were a bunch that they showed very briefly in the direct that we can show a little bit of here. But then also, she had this little kind of hotel-like uniform on that I tried at one point. And so that makes me very curious to see more about that hotel. So costumes, good. So to actually unlock the costumes, you have to find another type of collectible. They're like fossils, basically. So if you find enough of those with the right pattern on it, you'll be able to unlock different types of costumes. And you'll find vendors for these in kind of village-like areas in each sub-level. TLDR, costumes good. Find fossils, buy costumes. You got it. One of the last things I think I want to mention here about this game is that there are a bunch of little mini games and like side levels that you can do in your sub levels. So kind of similar to Mario Odyssey, which again, I think is a good thing. You can go in these doors and find these separate areas that allow you to do little mini games, whether it's like climb across this gap or race to the finish. Or one of my favorites was finding a side level that was like an homage to the older Donkey Kong Country games. It even had a version of David Wise's Sticker Brush Symphony playing in the background. Which filled my heart because that is one of the best songs in gaming. Feel free to fight me on that. I just think it's a fantastic song. But I was sitting there pointing it out to the people at the preview, and I'm like, it's Sticker Brush Symphony. It's so cool. Look, you're going through the bear. This is so cute with all the thorny vines. And they were like, yeah, this is cool. And I think it was really cool that they're paying homage to older Donkey Kong games in that way. And it makes me really curious and excited to see if they do that in other ways for maybe other DK games or even just more DKC stuff. I think that was a really nice touch. And I'm glad that they have that option for people who already love the Donkey Kong series and especially Donkey Kong Country games and want to maybe get a little taste of that within this game. So you can. Also similar to Odyssey, you can find other hidden bananas. So especially when you're in these side levels, do a little bit of extra work, look around a little bit more, and you might be able to find some extra banana gems to take with you. TLDR, side levels are cool. Homage to older DKC games. Sticker Brush Symphony is in there. Okay, so to wrap up, first of all, thank you again, Nintendo, for having me out for that preview session. It was really fun. Also, I was very flattered. I showed up in a casual cosplay of our dear young Pauline, and they liked it a lot, got a picture. But my time up there was really great, and I'm super glad I got to play a game that I'm legitimately excited about. With the game overall, here's my final TLDR. I think that this game so far, based on what I've previewed, is currently living up to the expectations that I saw in both the trailer and the direct in a good way. I think it's going to feel like what we are expecting, like a Donkey Kong game mixed with kind of a Mario Odyssey feel, to give us a lot of exploration, and a lot of opportunity to find things, to collect things, and to be within a beautiful, bright, colorful world all throughout the process. I think that having young Pauline as an addition was a really great move, and I enjoy her purpose. I enjoy her character and her personality, and I'm really excited to see how she grows throughout the course of the game. I'm also personally curious to see what hasn't been shown yet, and how the landscape changes in the game over time. Because while I already got to preview a variety of several different types of landscapes, that just makes me excited to see what is to come. Whether it's more Bananza forms or more variety in background stuff or the types of characters you interact with. I think that all of that will provide a pretty full game and a really fun experience. All right, I think we're about at the end of my personal thoughts with DK Bananza so far. So if you all are excited about Donkey Kong Bananza, please let me know in the comments. Let me know things that you noticed that maybe I missed, even with my gameplay. I feel like I definitely didn't cover everything. Let me know if this is a game that you plan to play. I definitely would like to play more of this game. So I'll be one of those day one, this is my game today types of players. If you want to catch my playthrough of it or learn more as I'm going through it myself, you can come over to my Twitch stream. I may also be streaming it on YouTube as well. So Kung Fu Fruit Cup, you can check those out. And let me know if you have any additional questions and how you felt about this style of video, because this is something a little bit different and a little bit newer for me. So just giving it a shot and seeing how it goes. Anyway, appreciate you all. Thank you again, Nintendo. And hopefully we'll have some more TLDRs coming up very soon. So thanks, everybody. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.